Okay, so here's the thing. I never envisioned myself, becoming a professional fighter like, boxing or UFC, um, for two main reasons. One, look at the face. Do you really sincerely want this pretty face to get a scratch on it? I don't think so. And number two, saying if I actually like did train and do all the stuff that I needed to do to like prepare for boxing or a UFC fight, I don't think I'm the type of person that can take an actual punch because like I again like I don't want to damage this, and this already cost a pretty penny to get these fixed. So yeah, I don't want that. I sincerely don't want that. Hey guys, what's going on? It's Daniel Strung from QuickTime Reactions, and it always happens whenever I do two movies in one day. I always seem to record the second one first, which has happened today. In fact, I went and saw two movies. I've already talked about the first one. That video is already up on the channel already. But we are going to talk about this second movie, which is The Smashing Machine. This is the most recent film to come out of A24, and it stars Dwayne Johnson, Emily Blunt, Ryan Bader, I believe was his name, Alexander Usyk. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Baz Rutten, as well as a whole host of others. And it tells the story of the Smashing Machine, Markkerr, and his rise through not only not amateur wrestling, but like starting out with wrestling, going into UFC, as well as going into Pride, all of the ups and all of the downs throughout his career. So this is probably, I would say, outside of like the movies that kind of went mainstream for A24. Like some people know what A24 is, because they're like super into independent films. But I would say that this is probably everyone's first like probably mention of A24, because Dwayne Johnson's in this movie, and he's like one of the biggest stars in Hollywood working today. And when it was announced that he was going to be in this movie and that this would be his first turn at being a dramatic actor, there were a couple of doubts, but I had the full confidence that Rock was able to pull this off, because he, whatever he does, he puts his nose to the grindstone and he gets it done. And you can go back and watch my trailer reactions, because we did react to the trailers here on the channel. But yeah, he definitely put the work in, and he is completely unrecognizable under that makeup. Like, it is absolutely insane. But how did it translate onto the screen? I gotta say, this is probably one of Rock's best performances, if not his best performance ever. Like, he absolutely disappears into this role. He is so good and so believable as Markkerr in this movie. And his chemistry with Emily Blunt, and I know that goes back to when they worked together on Jungle Cruise, but they just have an absolutely amazing chemistry. Their fights seem so realistic, and there's an actual bite to their arguments, which is a nice added touch of realism to it. And they are just incredible in this together. Everyone else in the movie does a really good job, but we mainly focus on Emily Blunt and Dwayne Johnson as Dawn and markkerr. And again, just absolutely amazing. I would not be surprised if Dwayne Johnson gets nominated for an Oscar, as well as Emily Blunt. And I had this thought when I was watching the movie, but I was like, this is very similar to what happened with Brendan Fraser and The Whale. And it's kind of similar, but I think the key main difference is, we had this beloved actor who was, a big deal in the 90s and early 2000s. He goes away because of things outside of his own control. And then he comes back with this independent movie by a well-known director and makes everyone within a 5 meter kilometer or 5 meter radius, 5 meter radius, 5 kilometer radius. That's what I meant to say. Whenever they watch The Whale, they're going to cry. And it's mainly because of Brendan Fraser's performance in it, which led him to an Oscar. Here you have Dwayne Johnson, who's, this mega popular guy, but, he's kind of lost a little bit of his luster, but now he's taken a new turn, and thanks to another well-known director, one half of the Safdie brothers, Benny, who not only directed this movie, but also wrote this movie. Now, Dwayne's now taken taken that new turn into a new chapter of his life, a new chapter of his acting career, and it could potentially lead him to an Oscar. We'll have to see what happens in a couple months down the line, but yeah, I seriously think that this could be Oscar contention for Dwayne Johnson. I mentioned him earlier, Benny Safdie. He wrote and directed this movie as well as edited this movie, and he does an absolutely amazing job. I remember seeing, now granted this is with his brother Josh, but when they did Uncut Gems, I absolutely loved what they did in Uncut Gems. And the way that they wrote it and the way that they shot it made it really realistic. Here, I love what Benny does because there are a couple of instances where we just follow characters. And what I mean by follow characters is the characters walking to a destination and the camera is behind them. We're getting a behind shot of them. And we follow them from, where they start to maybe a certain point, and we cut away, but then we cut back to that shot of them walking and we follow them to the destination. I think the biggest example is when Mark loses his first fight, and he gets out of the ring. He basically walks his way to the back, and we follow him all the way to the back. Finds the commissioner of Pride to explain his case, and then we cut back to him walking back to his dressing room, and we follow him into his dressing room. Those types of long takes were absolutely awesome to see in this, and it was really, really cool to see long takes. I also really liked the different formats that they shot it in. I think I remember seeing somewhere that they started out in VHS. That's how the movie starts out, and then we go to, I think, 16 millimeter for the at-home stuff. Then actual 35 millimeter for the fighting. And then at the end of the movie, it's I don't want to call it letterboxed, but it's a square frame kind of for the end of the film. And that was really, really cool to see. And I appreciate that aspect of showing the different perspectives and using different mediums to film everything. I also thought his editing was also really, really good as well. And I want to cite one instance of like really, really good writing, because, you know, Kerr is at a down point and him and Dawn are at a fair and they're watching a demolition derby. And I just really like the idea of Kerr, who, you know, he thinks he's broken down because of, you know, all of, you know, the stuff dealing within his personal life and all that stuff like that. And then you have a demolition derby where your objective is to just like beat up cars until they can't move anymore, which is similar to what happens in like UFC or Pride or stuff like that. And I just thought that was really, really smart and really, really genius writing. Um, but yeah, this movie is absolutely amazing. All the performances in the cast are absolutely awesome. Benny Safdie does an amazing job at not only writing, but also directing and editing this. The score is really, really good. I never thought jazz, type, like freeform jazz type of music, would work for a story like this, but it really does work in this movie. And it's just a really good movie. If you guys have the chance to, you know, check this out over the weekend, I highly recommend that you do, because it is not only, you know, just great performances, it's a great movie all around. And I definitely think that you should check it out. But yeah, that is it for my review of Smashing Machine. Let me know down in the comments below what you guys thought of the movie. But yeah, that is pretty much it for me, guys. Be safe out there, and remember, no fighting. I will catch you guys next time.